Alright, so today we're going to be doing a bit of a different review, as you can see from the video here. We're going to be taking a look at a 1989 Honda Accord. I know you're probably thinking, why would you do a review of that thing? It's not a popular item you buy on Amazon or wherever. Well, I feel that this third generation Accord, which is what this is, the last year of the third generation, represents sorts of a point where the philosophy on designing cars changed a little bit. I feel that starting in the 90s, BMW they forwarded this idea of the sport Euro sedan. You know, it has really heavy steering like a tractor and really stiff suspension and all that, and sorts of made them uncomfortable. Like, all my new cars have quite stiff suspension, quite stiff steering, and that's all sorts of in this idea of, you know, stiff means sportier. And I feel that when this came out in 1989, it was in the days when they really wanted it to be comfortable. I mean, most people aren't, Mario Andretti driving around and all that. They really wanted just to be comfort. And I feel that this is where it changed a little bit. The other reason I wanted to do a review of this car is I feel that when these first came out, I remember when I was little, I used to see these third gen Honda Accords everywhere. They were all over the road. And I feel that now, 27 years later, I feel that they're getting a bit more rare. You don't see them very often anymore. And I think it symbolizes the 1980s a bit. The style has sorts of come around. The 80s is kind of a combination of industrial styling along with a little bit of modernism. And I feel that that's getting a little hard to find now, and it's come into its own in terms of looking good. It's right on the edge of being a classic, really. If you look at like the DeLorean, you know, the most famous car from the 80s, I feel it has similar lines to this. Straight down, wedge shaped, quite sleek, low to the ground. And I feel that because of that, it's an interesting styling piece that is right on the edge of becoming, you know, a bit of a classic. It is also the only Accord ever to have retractable headlights. You can see there, these are down, they actually move. And it's one of very few cars in the history of cars to have retractable headlights. I think literally in the history of automobiles, there's only perhaps 4 or 5 cars that have retractable headlights. And they will never actually make these ever again because these are actually illegal now. New cars cannot be built in the United States with retractable headlights. That has been regulated out of the field, so we will not see that again. And for those reasons, I just want to take a look at this car because I think it's an interesting piece. Another interesting thing is this. It's kind of hard to see. You see this control arm at the top? Most cars don't have that. This actually has double wishbone suspension. So there's a control arm at the top of the wheel and one at the bottom as well. And because of the way it's tuned, it really is exceptionally smooth. Quite different to my new cars, quite different to most cars I've driven today. There you can see the double wishbone up there again. Quite different. It almost drives, it reminds me a little bit of I'm not sure if you've ever driven like a Lincoln Town car. You know, you go over a speed bump and just kind of floats over it. It's very smooth. The steering is very assisted, which, you know, I agree, you know, sporty maybe is better than that, and tight steering. I think most people just wanted to turn easily. You don't want to, you know, get a workout on your arms as you're pulling the steering away. There you can see the steering wheel there. An interesting thing they did back in the 80s into the mid-90s that they don't do anymore is the interior, as you can see, it's red, it's maroon, and the exterior is maroon as well. They matched it. There's actually the 89 Accords, actually you can find them with blue interior, other colors. It's kind of nice that the color you pick on the outside, they carry it onto the inside, so you can kind of get that feel going on. And that's kind of, it's an interesting thing. They don't do it anymore. I mean, it's obviously to save money and all that. And I understand, but it's nice just to make your car a little unique on the inside as well as the outside. So here we'll go ahead and we'll pop the hood. And the hood is very large on this. Has a long hood. Now this is a 2-liter engine with a carburetor. This is actually one of the last years that Honda sold a car with a carburetor. And there's actually inside here, there's 2 butterfly valves, one on this side, one on the other side under the air filter there. And when you first start it up and the car is cold, the butterfly valve on this side, there's a little motor on it, and it actually pushes it open and it high idles the engine until it's warm, and then the butterfly valve closes again. Which is kind of interesting, something you don't see anymore, to warm up the car quickly. And then on the other side, there's the butterfly valve is connected just to the gas pedal for throttle, obviously. Makes it go faster. Like I said, it's a 2-liter. It is, I think, right about 100 horsepower, which is, it's fine. You don't need any more. It gets good mileage because of it. That's another kind of design philosophy that changed. Now they definitely seem to go for the ultra high displacement, more power than you need at the expense of fuel efficiency. And another thing I like, for being a 27-year-old car, if you open it, I don't know if you can hear that, it still makes the 4 beeps that modern Hondas, they still do that as well. And then if you, with the lights on, it still has that little bell. Let's listen to it for a second. But I think that bell is so interesting, isn't it? It's such an odd choice for that. It's like a bicycle bell. And then if we move that, let's see this. They still work. I love that. I really wish they still did that in cars. Anywho, so we will get in and take a ride in just a moment. Now, one of the other interesting items, something you won't see anymore, with the carbureted engine and all that, is it actually says in the manual that you're supposed to give it 2 kicks on the gas before you turn the key. And my grandmother actually bought this car brand new 27 years ago. I used to see her doing that, kicking the gas twice. I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't understand. And then I read the manual, I realized it says to do it in there. And so if you give it 2 kicks and then start it, it starts right up. And see, there's the high idle. So the butterfly valve is opening because the engine, the motor is cold. And it will rev at that level until it gets warm. There's a little light for all 4 doors, which I wish they would do this on new cars. I can never tell if it's the trunk open or what's open or any of that. So each one shows individually, and then it shows the shift position up here. It's kind of nice, another little touch. Another interesting thing with this, back to the comfort aspect that they don't seem to do anymore. I don't know how they did this, but the engine is extremely quiet from the inside of the car. When you're running, it almost sounds like, it's hard to describe. I'd say it sounds almost like a turbine or like a BMW motorcycle. They dampen the sound down a lot. I don't know how they did it. I assume there's lots of, insulation bits under there or something. But it's so quiet, and I wish new cars would do that more. You don't hear the clickety-clack of the valves or the engine or any of that at all. It kind of just, you hear that kind of whoo, it kind of whirs up and then it stops. And you don't hear any of that click-to-clack. I even have a Prius, which has a very small engine as well. And now you can hear the engine when it revs. You can hear it go click-to-clack, click-to-clack, click-to-clack. In this one, you just don't hear it. They dampen the sound down so well. Like I said, I wish they would do that more now, because new cars are so loud, and I like it. It's quiet. It drives smoothly. It has that Lincoln Town Car sort of smoothness to it, and the quietness. And I feel like these are all things they don't do anymore. New cars all seem to have a bit of a harsh ride, and it's quite annoying And then once again, another reason why I wanted to do a review of this car, I just think it's an homage to the 1980s. It's almost a classic, right on the edge of it. And the quietness and all that, it's just a different sorts of design philosophy. And of course, it also has manual windows. I used to think that was something I'd never see again, but I have a friend who bought a brand new Dodge pickup truck and it had manual windows. What the hell is that? I haven't seen that in a long time.